जय
हरे कृष्ण
जय
माता।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
दंडवत प्रणाम। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेव्या भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैस्तिकी। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशालाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती जय पताका स्वामिनिधि नामनी नमाचार्य पदाय निताय कृपा प्रदायिनी गौर कथा दामदाय नगर ग्राम तारिणी नमो विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण प्रस्ताय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिधि नामनी नमस्ते सारस्वती वे गौरवाणी प्रचारणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम Canto 4 Chapter 11 Text 24, right?
26 माता जी।
26, huh?
यस माता जी।
Okay. एष भूतानि भूतात्मा भूतेषु भूतभावना स्वशक्त्या मायया युक्त सृजति अत्ति च पाति च. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the super soul of all living entities. He is the controller and maintainer of everyone. Through the agency of his external energy, he creates, maintains, and annihilates everyone. Purport: there are two kinds of energies in the matter of creation. The Lord creates this material world through his external material energy, whereas the spiritual world is a manifestation of his internal energy. He's always associated with the internal energy, but he's always aloof from the material energy. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 9.4, the Lord says, Matstani sarva bhutani na chaham teshu avastita. All living entities are living on me or on my energy, but I'm not everywhere. He's personally always situated in the spiritual world. In the material world also, wherever the Supreme Lord is personally present, is to be understood as being the spiritual world. For example, the Lord is worshipped in the temple by the pure devotees. The temple is therefore to be understood as being the spiritual world. So here he's talking about is how he's controlling this material world through his energy, external energy. He is the controller and maintainer of everyone. How? Through the agency of his external energy. He is not directly present, but we are situated in him, but he is not present. That means in the material realm, that is also his energy. So we are connected to him through her. But Krishna is not there in our, because external energy, Krishna does not associate with. So that is how, if we want to connect with him, we have to go into the internal energy. Then we can connect. Then he is everywhere. See, that is what Krishna, in one sense, everything material is controlled by the external energy, and that is situated in him only. But Krishna is not in the material energy. But the minute we start using external energy in the service of Krishna, it becomes internal energy and becomes spiritual world. So Lord is not personally present as long as we are not using it in the service of Krishna. Then it is external energy. And the minute we start worshipping Him with all the products of the external energy, it becomes internal energy and it becomes spiritual world. Therefore, the temple is therefore to be understood as being the spiritual world. In the same way, our bodies also, as long as we are not using it in the service of Krishna and for sense gratification, we are totally in the external energy. And the minute we understand and we use the body in the service of Krishna, then it becomes part of internal energy. And he is the supreme personality of Godhead, is the super soul of all living entities. He is the controller and maintainer of everyone. Through the agency of his external energy, he creates, maintains, and annihilates everyone. So internally with the soul, he is present. He is the Atma of the Atma. Paramatma is there with the soul all the time and is maintaining and controlling everyone. At the same time, he is maintaining through his external energy. And actually, his energies, this Navaratri is a time when we glorify his energies. But the Vaishnava method of glorifying his energies is by connecting, worship, by seeing them in their relationship with Krishna. So when we glorify his energies, how can energy be separate from energetic? So we always glorify the energy along with the energetic. And so, but those who are materialistic people, they only want the energy. They are not interested in Krishna. Okay, she will give me everything for my sense gratification. That is not good. But it is good if we see the energy as connected with the energetic Krishna and thank them and pray to them. Thank them for all the benedictions that they are giving us, all the facilities, all the protection, all the knowledge. And we pray to them to engage us in the service of the Lord, to use whatever, we see them with Krishna and we want to serve both of them. That is perfect. That is why among Sri Vaishnavas, this Navratri is celebrated, Vaishnavas. But how they do is, they have, steps and all that, just like in Tamil, it's called Gulu, and in Kannada, it is called Gombe Habba. Gombe means, I think, doll. So, and it's very, very popular. Why? Because they like to keep, different, it's all the pastimes of the Lord and so many, so they, I don't know, it's the creativity, the ladies love it to do that. And it's a wonderful way to glorify them, the Shaktis also, energies. It's very nice that we think of them also. And the thing is, among Vaishnavas, that is Sri Vaishnavas, they also celebrate because they are not worshippers, Shaktas, worshipping, they only worship Lakshmi Devi. That is the Shakti they worship, not Durga Devi. But still, they also celebrate this, keeping all Lakshmi with Narayana and all the pastimes, Ramayana, Mahabharat. I think it's a wonderful way to give thanks, to pray, because they also give Shakti to us. They also, if we want encouragement in our bhakti, then that is also given by them. Lakshmi Devi, the first 3 days is Durga Mata. She is maintaining this whole world. So if we glorify her, because there are so many things she provides, though her aim is to keep us in illusion according to what Krishna wants. But she herself is a great Vaishnavi, and there are so many ways in which she gives protection. So we glorify her, and then the next 3 days of her Lakshmi, Vishnu's consort, and she's maintaining everyone also. more in a spiritual way, and also a mode of goodness she's maintaining. And Saraswati, consort of Brahma, she's giving all knowledge and so on. So it's actually a wonderful, festival where you invite people and make them sing Krishna's bhajans, and then you give them prasadam. It is not for some people, it's only material. I mean, those who keep vrat and only for Durga, 9-day Durga festival, they only worship different avatars of Durga. They are only Shaktas, only worshipping Durga Devi in her 9 forms. And so that is different. They at least okay, but they also see in her different features, but they want material benedictions from her. But we can also, I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity to say thanks to the energy of Krishna. All these are energies of Krishna, consorts who are very dear to Krishna. I think, you know, uh, it's very nice, actually. It's a wonderful festival. So we can see how the energy and the energetic, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, that we are simultaneously one and different. Energy is same as Krishna because part and parcel of Krishna. At the same time, energy is not energetic. There's a difference. And Krishna is very happy when we glorify his servants and thank them. Tam eva mrityum amritam tata daivam sarvatmanopehi jagatparayanam yasmai bhalim vishwasrijo haranti gavo yata vai nasi dhamayantrita. My dear boy Dhruva, please surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the ultimate goal of the progress of the world. Everyone, including the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, is working under his control, just as a bull prompted by a rope in its nose is controlled by its owner. Purport: the material disease is to declare the independence from the supreme controller. Factually, our material existence begins when we forget the supreme controller and wish to lord it over material nature. Everyone in the material world is trying his best to become the supreme controller individually, nationally, socially, and in many other ways. Dhruv Maharaja was advised to stop fighting by his grandfather, who was concerned that Dhruva was adhering to a personal ambition to fight, to annihilate the whole race of yakshas. In this verse, therefore, Swayambhuva Manu seeks to eradicate the last tinge of false ambition in Dhruva by explaining the position of the supreme controller. The words Mrityum Amritam, death and immortality, are significant. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, I am ultimate death who takes away everything from the demons. The demons' business is to continuously struggle for existence as lords over material nature. The demons repeatedly meet death after death and create a network of involvement in the material world. The Lord is death for the demons, but for the devotees is Amrita, eternal life. Devotees who render continuous service to the Lord have already attained immortality. For whatever they are doing in this life, they will continue to do in the next. They will simply change their material bodies for spiritual bodies. Unlike the demons, they no longer have to change material bodies. The Lord, therefore, is simultaneously death and immortality. He is death for demons and immortality for devotees. He is the ultimate goal of everyone because he is the cause of all causes. Dhruv Maharaja was advised to surrender unto him in all respects without keeping any personal ambition. One may put forward the argument, why are the demigods worshipped? The answer is given here that demigods are worshipped by less intelligent men. Demigods themselves accept sacrifices for the ultimate satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, this is the whole, I mean, ultimately, this is the solution for all problems. When we understand we are not the controllers, and everything is controlled by Krishna, and then we surrender unto him and don't take it in our own hands, how I should punish, and then I'm going to eradicate the whole race and all that. Such things are that is based on personal decisions, personal whims. And but for a devotee, the Lord always sends his agents to warn the devotee, don't do that. So here also he was overcome by strong feelings, but Manu, his grandfather, came and gave him such wonderful, preaching. See, when we are in trouble, sometimes anybody can get lost, anybody can become overpowered by emotions and all that. And that's why we need devotee association. And devotee association means they must come and explain like this. He could have just chastised him. Hey, Dhruva, what the hell are you doing? Don't do like this. Who do you think you are? Stop fighting. He could have his grandfather, or he might have just told in one sentence, this is not correct. Don't do. Mostly people have, in Kali Yuga, people are so impatient. They don't sit and explain like this, isn't it? You see, if you want counseling, how many people have the patience to come and sit with you and explain like this? So don't do, Dhruva. Of course, can say Dhruva is a pure devotee, so he will listen. No, but he he knew that even though he's a pure devotee, he had the empathy to understand when we are emotionally stuck, when we are very disturbed, then you need to explain as if he doesn't know. Dhruv Maharaja, as if he is a pure devotee, as if he doesn't know all these things. The energy, that Krishna is the one controller. The thing is, when we are practically facing something, we forget the philosophy and we are just overcome by the immediate emotions. So, whatever last vestiges of material attachment he had, Swayambhuva Manu wanted to completely remove that. So, he explained again. So, this is required. See, whenever somebody is stuck, so we have to explain to them, like, why you're thinking like this is how Krishna is, this is the purpose of our life, and this is how should be our, yes, Radha Madhav, Jai. This should be our attitude. When you explain all that and then you tell, now you surrender to Krishna, anybody will agree to surrender. But devotees, they'll say, hey, just chant Hare Krishna and surrender to Krishna. That's all. They won't explain anything else. So, mostly, not everyone. Then what happens? Devotees, they get very disturbed for everything without. I know you have to chant Hare Krishna and surrender to Krishna. But when I'm disturbed, can you not also explain why I must surrender? Because at that point, you've been initiated for a long time, you know all the philosophy. What is there to explain? If you think like that, it's not true, because when you are facing the situation and then your mind will become blank, all the philosophy that you know and that you've been very nicely telling other people, you may forget. And that's what devotees are for. Devotee association means helping one another to think about Krishna when we make some mistakes also, instead of finding fault. See, big devotee and see what mistake he's doing. That is not the mood. We should immediately, like Swayambhu Manu, he went and explained to Dhruva as if he doesn't know. He knows everything. But again, he told him just to remind him, because we can keep forgetting our relationship with Krishna as long as we are in the material world. It's such a dangerous, every moment anything can happen. So even Dhruva, person like Dhruva, got a little bewildered, and so he had to tell him, Krishna is the controller, not you. And so everybody, even Brahma and Shiva, are all controlled. Like a bull prompted by a rope in its nose is controlled by its owner. So it can happen even to such a Mahabhagavata like Dhruva. he had, because of his past, maybe slightly he became overwhelmed, and he got so angry, he wanted to destroy the entire race of Yakshas. Ya panchavarsho jananim tvam vihaya matu sapatnya vachasa bhinna marma vanam gatas tapasa pratyag aksham aradhyale be murdni padam trilokya. My dear Dhruva, at the age of only 5 years, you were very grievously afflicted by the words of your mother's co-wife, and you very boldly gave up the protection of your mother and went to the forest to engage in the yogic process for realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As a result of this, you have already achieved the topmost position in all the three worlds. Manu was very proud that Dhruv Maharaja was one of the descendants in his family, because at the age of only 5 years, Dhruva began meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and within 6 months, he was able to see the Supreme Lord face to face. Factually, Dhruv Maharaja is the glory of the Manu dynasty or the human family, because Manushya, the human family begins from Manu. The Sanskrit word for man is Manushya, which means descendant of Manu. Not only is Dhruv Maharaja the glory of the family of Swayambhuva Manu, but he is the glory of the entire human society. Because Dhruv Maharaja had already surrendered to the Supreme Godhead, he was especially requested not to do anything unbefitting a surrendered soul. So, how nicely he is reminding him, you've already surrendered. Why do you now, you know, don't do anything by which, it will go against your surrender? And Manushya, so this says we are the human, everything starts, human family begins from Manu. And Dhruv Maharaja is the glory of the family of not only Swayambhu Manu, but for all Manushyas. And we know for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his favorite pastimes from the Srimad Bhagavatam, one was Dhruv Maharaja Katha, the other is Prahlad Maharaja Katha. He loved to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. Gadadhar Pandit would be constantly every day reading out Bhagavatam for him. And his favorites were Dhruv Maharaja, Prahlad Maharaj. So that is what's so inspiring, Dhruv Maharaj's thing. So that's why his grandfather is saying, you are so inspiring. And why you don't do anything which will go against that. Tam enam angatmani mukta vigrahe vyapashritham nirgunam ekam aksharam atmanam anvicha vimuktam atmadrig yasmin idam bedam asat pratiyate. My dear Dhruva, please therefore turn your attention to the Supreme Person who is the infallible Brahman. Face the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your original position, and thus, by self realization, you'll find this material differentiation to be merely flickering. Purport. The living entities have three kinds of vision according to their positions in self realization. According to the bodily concept of life, one sees differentiation in terms of varieties of bodies. The living entity actually passes through many varieties of material forms. But despite all such changes of the body, he is eternal. When living entities, therefore, are viewed in the bodily concept of life, one appears to be different from one another. Lord Manu wanted to change the vision of Dhruv Maharaja, who is looking upon Yakshas as different from him or as his enemies. Actually, no one is an enemy or a friend. Everyone is passing through different types of bodies under the law of karma. But as soon as one is situated in a spiritual identity, he does not see differentiation in terms of this law. In other words, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.54, Brahmabhuta prasannatma na shochati Na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. A devotee who is already liberated does not differentiate in terms of the outward body. He sees all living entities as spirit souls, eternal servants of the Lord. Dhruv Maharaja was advised by Lord Manu to see with that vision. He was specifically advised to do so because he was a great devotee and should not have looked upon other living entities with ordinary vision. Indirectly, Manu pointed out to Dhruv Maharaja that out of material affection, Dhruva thought of his brother as his kin and the Yakshas as his enemies. Such observation of differentiation subsides as soon as one is situated in his original position as an eternal servant of the Lord. So that is why Dhruv Maharaj is telling, my dear Dhruva, please therefore turn your attention to the Supreme Person who's infallible Brahman. Face the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your original position, and thus, by self realization, you will find this material differentiation to be merely flickering. And that is the best. The minute we surrender to Krishna and we don't make any differentiation, but Krishna will take care. We don't have to worry. Even for a king like Dhruv Maharaja, what to speak of just ordinary people or saints or something? He is not, he is acting as a king. And a king has to chastise, punish those who do make mistakes. And even for him, Swayambhu Manu is saying, even a king has to act in this consciousness. As a servant of Krishna, only do things that are pleasing to Krishna, that is correct, not do anything in the consciousness that I'm a great king and whatever I say, everyone has to listen. In that mood, no, that is material. Even a king has to, I mean, even to Arjuna, Krishna said, Mam anusmara yujyasya, yujyascha. Think of me and fight, not fight and think of me. No, think of me and fight. So, first thing is to think about Krishna, and I am your servant, Krishna, and I'll do all this job just to satisfy you. That then our occupation also uh, helps us towards self-realization. Whatever work we do, we have to remember Krishna and then do. Then that work helps us to elevate our consciousness. That's the purpose. Purpose of all work is simply to for self-realization. That's what Bhagavatam says. All work done, even the mundane material work for maintenance, maintaining our bodies, everything should be performed for self-realization, not for sense gratification. For sense gratification, we think I'm the body, I'm doing this job, I have to enjoy the fruits of my work. And then we become completely bound up and we forget our connection with Krishna. And then we start thinking in terms of, all this competition, comparing with people, getting angry, thinking that we are the controllers, thinking that others are responsible for my happiness and success, happiness or distress. Nobody is, only our own karmas. That also he said. Yeah, we are just, karma is the ultimate thing. What your happiness and success does not depend upon other living entities. That is when you understand that, that is when you can become peaceful, calm, and equanimate, have equanimity towards everyone. Because whatever happens, even they act as your enemy. They are just instruments. Whatever has to happen, Krishna will take care. So once we understand that Krishna is only the cause, nobody can touch us. If Krishna is there with me, I'm surrendered to him, nobody can harm me. Then why will you think we won't blame others for whatever our happiness and success, our happiness or distress, because we know that they are simply instruments. Ultimate person who decides everything is Krishna. And that's why it's so important to be in this consciousness, right? A body consciousness is so dangerous. Every minute we are getting tossed and turned and so many things, material life, especially in Kali Yuga, so many challenges. And all those challenges can be overcome when we remember who's the Supreme Person and what's my relation to Him and how He is the controller of everything. He is only in the heart of every living entity, in every atom. We have to meditate on that. Then that is it. We can surrender to Him. Okay, Krishna, whatever you want. There's no point in fighting with the Lord. Though sometimes, due to attachment, even devotees have fought with the Lord. Like Indra, he was very attached to the Swargaloka, his gardens and beauty of this Swargaloka. And then when Krishna went with Satyabhama, he took her with him when he went to um, kill Banasura. And he took something, he saw that Banasura had taken one nose ring of Aditi's, who is Indra's mother. So he wanted to give it to Indra, his mother Aditi. So I mean, Aditi is like his mother, no, Krishna's own mother, because Vamana Dev's mother. So she's very special. So he took this nose ring and went along with Satyabhama to the Swargaloka to give it. Imagine, Krishna is doing such a wonderful thing. And during that visit, okay, they took them around, showing all the Nandana Kanana and all those things. And so Satyabhama, she saw this Parijata flower. And as they were leaving, and then they left the place, and Satyabhama said, that flower, Parijata, so nice, it's so fragrant, so beautiful. It should be there, no? With you, it should be there. Why is it for Swargaloka? Why not in Vrindavan? No, Dwarka, it will be so nice. So Krishna is ever obliging to his pure devotees. And so he thought, okay, he went, it's all his property. He doesn't have to ask permission to Indra. He only gave everything to them. So he went and took the Parijata tree. And as he was leaving, Indra was so disturbed. How can you take a Parijata tree? It belongs to Swargaloka. And he actually fought with the Lord. And our Lord, of course, defeated him and then took it anyway. And then Indra became ashamed and kept quiet. So there's no point in attacking the Lord of fighting with him. Whatever he decides, he does. And if we surrender, we'll understand that everything is perfect. Whatever the Lord decides is perfect. We may not understand at that moment. We may think he's very unjust, cruel, or he's partial, or he doesn't understand us. I mean, he's, we don't understand what he's doing, and so on. But if we are a little patient and surrender to him, then we'll know, oh, yes, whatever Krishna is Satya Sankalpa. Everything is Satya. Everything is true with him. Whatever he thinks, whatever Sankalpa he takes, whatever thoughts he has, everything about him is absolute truth. There is no touch of any tinge of any material modes. So naturally, there is no other choice but to surrender to him. And so he's telling so nicely, wonderful. This is the kind of preaching or counseling one should do. So lovingly, Swayambhu Manu is telling him everything about Krishna, encouraging him by saying, you're such a wonderful devotee. You've already surrendered to Krishna, not accusing him or scolding him, but reminding him so nicely. And then finally giving. So if you've spoken like that, then the person will be very receptive. So much they are understanding my position and saying not in an accusing way, but telling all the, everything about the Supreme Lord and why we need to surrender. And then saying, you've already surrendered, you're very nice. This thing, sandwich technique is using. And finally, he is saying, Thus, and he has Dhruva's interest in mind, Swayambhuva Manu. So he is saying that face the Supreme Personality of Godhead in your original position, and thus by self realization, you'll find this material differentiation to be merely flickering. Because whatever activities we do with self realization, that is good not only for us, for everyone, for the whole universe. That is what we need to do. It's for our in our own well being that we must act in this platform. So we can understand how much sadhana is important. We think I'm doing now 16 rounds and I'm following 4 rigs and all that. I promise that I'm doing. That is more than enough. And just before my death, I'll do it a little more sincerely. I'll go back to Godhead. You see how difficult it is to change our consciousness to being, understanding that Krishna is the supreme controller. I'm a servant. Even for Dhruv Maharaja, he needed in the material world, he needed a reminder. Now, are we so much well versed in the philosophy and so purified that at the time of death, we will be so fixed up that we'll only think, oh, Krishna, I'm your servant. Like Prabhupada, he said, I am a dinky. I'm like a dinky. Dinky means a winnowing machine. I mean, which shreds. No, yeah, winnowing. I mean, like denki means, I think, when you remove all the, this, what do you call the skin of the grains. You keep, putting it up and removing all the husk. No, he said the denki, wherever you take it, it will do the same job. Wherever you take, denki will act as a donkey only. So he said, whether I'm in here in the material world or spiritual world, I'm a denki, I'm a servant of Krishna. So it doesn't matter to me where I am. So that is what an exalted thing it is. And in our day-to-day time life also, like Dhruv Maharaja, ultimately, Krishna told him, you're going to come back to me. He already predicted. But what about, okay, we can think I'll go back to Godhead because I'm following all this. Last minute, I will think about Krishna and I'll go back. But what about living your life now? So many challenges. Even Dhruv Maharaja faced a challenge, and for that, he also got bewildered. And he had to be explained to by his grandfather about his position. You've forgotten what your position is towards Krishna. You're not the controller. We need that. Again and again and again, we forget and we start enjoying and thinking, oh, I'm the enjoyer of this, I'm the controller of this. And we have to be hammered. And of course, that's why we are chanting Hare Krishna. How much sincerely we should chant, because we are not giving a full attention to the holy name. Why? Because we are not lost in that mood of being a servant. We are still desiring so many material or comforts and this and that, because of which we are not chanting the mantra in a service attitude. That is why we have a long way to go before we can become like this, like Swayambhuva Manu. He is the king of this entire human race, and he's living in a big palace. We know it is described in Devahuti and Karadama Muni's chapter, because Devahuti is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, and how after getting giving her in marriage to Karadama, Swayambhuva returned to his palace, and it's described. What's the lifestyle? Very, very opulent. But what is he doing? Before going to bed, he is listening to bhajans. People are all singing, and he's thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and going to sleep. And in the morning, he's woken up by all the Shainai, all the musicians, again glorifying Krishna, and he wakes up. So, never forgets, even though he is in such a great exalted position. Tvam pratyag atmani tadha bhagavati ananta ananda matra upapanna samastat shaktau Bhaktim vidhaya paramam sanakair avidya grantim vibetsyasi mamaham iti parudham. Thus regaining your natural position and rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, who is the all-powerful reservoir of all pleasure and who lives in all living entities as the super soul, you will very soon forget the illusory understanding of I and my. Dhruv Maharaja was already a liberated person because at the age of 5 years, he had seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But even though liberated, he was for the time being afflicted by the illusion of Maya, thinking himself the brother of Uttama in the bodily concept of life. The whole material world is working on the basis of I and mine. This is the root of attraction to the material world. If one is attracted to this root of illusory conceptions, I and mine, he will have to remain within this material world in different exalted or nasty positions. By the grace of Lord Krishna, the sages, and Lord Manu, no, by the grace of Lord Krishna, the sages and Lord Manu reminded Dhruv Maharaja that he should not continue this material conception of I and mine. Simply by devotional service unto the Lord, his illusion could be eradicated without difficulty. So that is the message coming from Krishna. And Swayambhu Manu is his agent. He is saying, thus regaining your natural position and rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, who is the all powerful reservoir of all pleasure. So we get all pleasure by serving Him. That is our payment. Though devotee is not even interested in getting pleasure and all, they just want to see that Krishna is happy and pleased. That gives them great joy. And who lives in all living entities as the super soul. So if we are aware of that, this is the natural position, rendering service to the Supreme Lord and aware that He is the Paramatma in everyone's heart, then what happens? You will very soon forget the illusory understanding of I and my. And in the previous purport also, Prabhupada explains that because he was differentiating like that, that is why he got so much upset. And the minute he starts thinking, I'm a servant of Krishna, he will see everybody as servants of Krishna. And then he will just leave it to Krishna. Naturally, everybody's connected with Krishna. They're all doing according to their own, whatever relationship, their own karmas. Krishna is controlling everyone. So he just sees, okay, everybody's engaged in their relationships with Krishna, and he's not disturbed. Krishna is taking care of me. I'll do whatever Krishna wants. Actually, he was helped by the sages only, who came and gave him some weapons, right, by which he could kill the yakshas. So he wasn't totally whimsical. I mean, in the beginning, he went, he was overpowered by them. And at that time, the sages came and helped him. That is help sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when he was doing the right thing. And then the minute he was getting overboard, doing more than is necessary, immediately Krishna, Paramatma in everyone's heart, sent Swayambhu Manu, go there and advise your grandson. So that is how much being a devotee of Krishna, that is the most important thing. Not that I'm a perfect being. As long we are all tiny souls, and in this material world, because of Maya's influence, anyone can do some mistake also. But if we are always thinking of Krishna, then Krishna will send help. The minute we are doing something wrong, immediately Krishna will send somebody, or, sometimes it's very amazing when you're thinking something and you're driving in the car and you see on the road, sometimes you will see some, um, slogan or some caption or even an advertisement which seems to answer what you're thinking about or what you have a question in mind. Krishna talks in so many ways, either something, some written word, or sometimes you just open the Bhagavad Gita and there clearly Krishna is speaking directly to you, or devotees say something, or anybody, or Guru Maharaj. It seems that you go and then you hear Guru Maharaj mentioned that sometimes devotees come and tell me, Guru Maharaj, I had such a doubt in my mind and you clarified it. It was as if, not it was as if, how you know everything about my mind and you answered, you replied my question. So Guru Maharaj was saying, I can say, yes, I am like God. I mean, like he was saying, like the other, these false gurus, who pose like God and all that, they will act as if they themselves are God and they know everything. But it is Paramatma who's giving everything. He is only making someone speak like that. The guru knows. He's only giving the knowledge, the intelligence to guru also. So the guru never thinks, claims he's God or acts like God. So he is always there. Krishna as the Paramatma is always helping us. And that's why we have to always think of him. Then even if we make a mistake, he's always there to protect us in amazing ways. If we become more and more aware of him, conscious of him, thinking of him, depending on him, then only we will be able to see how every minute he is there with us, helping us, even in our ordinary activities. That is what is exciting about life. Otherwise, what is there? Every day we get up, same things we do for our maintenance. Again, we go to sleep. Again, the body has to be maintained. Again, same cycle. What is so exciting about that? But the excitement is if we are aware that all these things are happening because of Krishna. Just being aware of him is so wonderful. Being thinking of him, and then Krishna makes himself known. See, I'm there. Don't worry. Otherwise, this world is quite dangerous and we don't know what's going to happen. But by thinking of Krishna, we know that he's always there for us. Anytime, even we make a mistake, he's there. Or the wrong thoughts, then he's there all the time, either sending us agents or making us read something or putting a nice slap on our face, whatever he does. So this is wonderful, isn't it? Dhruv Maharaja making a mistake and Swayambhu Manu immediately there to rectify that. And he's very nicely advising him how you must get over these feelings of I and my. And we also see how nicely to help devotees. When they act in Maya, we have to first empathize how they are feeling. We can't just go and say, you're in Maya, don't think like this, then that's it. They're not going to listen to you, get lost. I don't want to listen to you. But Swayambhu Manu, he understood his problem. He talked nicely to him, and then he explained about the situation. And he also praised him. I mean, he didn't act as if, he's nothing. And then he's totally in Maya or something like that. So we shouldn't forget that when people make a mistake, we forget all the good things they've done. And we only remember this mistake and then we scold them or, or whatever. Then what will happen? They will not be ready to listen to us, isn't it? This wonderful preaching by Swayambhu Manu about reminding him about God, reminding him about his original relationship with him, and how by just surrendering to him, he can you will overcome your illusion. So very inspiring words. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Mataji, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble system.
Hare Krishna. Yes, please accept.
Mataji, how do I become every moment, as you said, how do we become every moment Krishna conscious. How that happens?
Only through chanting.
Okay.
Better, and by reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, morning Bhagavatam, evening, 24 hours, it is there, no? The effect. Good morning program, 24 hours, you will not forget Krishna. And if you do forget Krishna also, there'll be some reminder like this. That is the advantage. We do good morning program. Even if we forget him and make a mistake, Krishna will send some reminder to us. Isn't it? And that is why we have to keep all the ways so that we'll never forget him. Keep Krishna's photo in your desk and some Bhagavad Gita there, so that from time to time, whenever you have a break, just see one verse. So then you will be charged with that spiritual consciousness. Yes, I'm working for Krishna, I'm working with Krishna, and in the proper relationship. You can remind yourself, isn't it? And that will give you greater energy, inspiration, enthusiasm to do the work.
Thank you, Mataji. Please bless him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandapam.
Then with Pranam. Yes.
Mataji, so we should not fast on this Navratri, Mataji.
We should not fast.
Yeah, or we can engage that we can do Kirtan, Hare Krishna Mahamantra also. We can do that like Mataji.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're staying in the temple, so we can have kirtan. Anyway, we are doing the same, this thing. This is for those who are, you don't have to do the vrat, which they do. We are already doing a lot of vratas, no? We are fasting and feasting for all the other acharyas and all that. We should not invent something new which Prabhupada has not told us. So this fasting and all, no need to do. But we can glorify them in our mind, we can be grateful to them, we can worship them. And those who in their families, that's a, or even if you are, it's a very good way to call new people, in our temples. Okay, when they come, in the temple we can't put gulu and all that, and they'll give us food. Oh, you're starting a new tradition now, what is this, they'll say. I'm talking of in the house, like you want to invite people. And this is a good thing, like if you already have some dolls and all, and in your family there is a tradition, then you can keep that. And you keep all, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and those sort of things, call them and ask them to sing bhajans. And you can also sing Hare Krishna with them and give them prasad. So I'm just saying that you don't have to feel, you can make it very Krishna conscious. But in our temples and all, we should not, I don't know, unless we get the approval and all, we can't start one new tradition. We'll put one golu over there. I don't know, maybe you can, it's not wrong, because Prabhupada had dioramas for inspiring people. So it's not wrong philosophically, but better to get some authority to sanction it before we start some new tradition, and then we get nicely oh, so you want to do something different and all that. So I'm just saying that if you are already doing it at home, then you can connect it for our own sakes. It's a thanksgiving moment to the Devis, the energies of the Lord. They are like the mothers, they are the mothers. And so we need to do that. And Krishna is also very happy, and we need their protection and mercy. Very kind, isn't it? Like Radharani, they're all expansions of Srimati Radharani. And so we can get their mercy and blessings internally. That means by glorifying them, thanking them, being inspired by them. And if you want to preach, then I'm saying that you can connect it by having all these dolls of Krishna's also pastimes, Lakshmi and Narayana, Durga and Shiva, like that. So that it's, this wrong thing of using the Shakti for ourselves, then that should not be there. But otherwise, you can use it for serving Krishna, because it's a Vaishnava tradition. In ISKCON, how many things Prabhupada will say? He was concentrating on something. But it's not, I mean, I'm saying among Sri Vaishnavas, all the Sri Vaishnavas also have this Golu tradition. And I think Madhvas also. So it is not a non-Vaishnava or a Shakta tradition like that. They also connected it with Vaishnavism, and they used it as a very nice religious and social. You invite people, they come, and you give them prasadam, you make them sing. It's very nice. When I was a child, I used to take part in that, and it was very nice. Those Navratri days. I mean, now when I see other people, they're so excited about Navratri. And I was thinking, why I'm not feeling excited? They're all very excited. Ah, Navratri, Navratri, because we are not doing that. But I thought, I felt very good. I felt that, okay, I will do Arati even more with greater inspiration to serve, Radha Krishna, which is all the Devis. So, like that. And then, yeah, they give a lot of inspiration actually, Radharani. And, if you serve Guru, then you get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. So then you want to serve the Guru even more, so that you get more in blessings of Srimati Radharani. So, like that, it's an opportunity to think of the Lord's consorts. It's very nice, isn't it? Otherwise, see how spiritually it is male and female combination. It is not only male, only Krishna. Some people will only say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. They'll never talk about the feminine aspect of the Lord. We should combine them. Then, I mean, say both are required. And then our hearts also will be softened and be filled with love. There are some people who will never look at the feminine aspect of the Lord somehow. I don't know. They probably, whatever reason. So, this is a very good festival where all the Shaktis of the Lord are being worshipped. It's fantastic.
So Mataji, we can connect this all festival with Krishna consciousness, na Mataji?
Not all festivals.